Picture working in a place where one small mistake could end your career. Where people barely notice you, unless you mess up. Maya-chan understood that feeling better than anyone as she moved across the polished marble floor of Lernaden's most private dining room. But tonight was different. Tonight, she wasn't afraid of making a mistake. She was planning one. What if a single spill could change everything? What if one bold move could stop something dangerous and open the door to something completely unexpected? Before we go further, take a second to subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I always love seeing how far these stories travel. Now, back to Maya. The crystal glass shook slightly in her hand as she walked toward table 7. Her pulse was loud in her ears. This was the moment. No turning back. The deep red wine splashed onto the white tablecloth, spreading fast. It looked dramatic. Almost unreal. The room went silent. "You are unbelievable," Senator Richardson snapped, his voice sharp enough to cut through the stillness. "I'm so sorry, sir," Maya replied. Her voice stayed calm, even though her hands trembled. "I'll clean it right away." As she knelt beside the table, she glanced up briefly. At the corner table, a woman had lowered her phone and was watching closely. Cool gray eyes. Focused. Alert. Alexandra Sterling, CEO of Sterling Industries. Maya had seen her face in business magazines more times than she could count. The senator's face turned red. "Do you know how expensive this suit is?" Maya kept dabbing at the stain, steady and efficient. Her fingers slid under the edge of the tablecloth. There it was. Exactly where she knew it would be. A small recording device. "Sir, I'll personally make sure the cleaning is covered," she said quietly, slipping the device into her palm. The senator pushed back his chair. "This is unacceptable. I want her fired." "That won't be necessary." The voice was calm. Firm. It carried across the room without effort. Alexandra Sterling had risen from her table and walked over. Her black suit was flawless. Her presence alone shifted the energy in the room. Up close, she was even more striking. Sharp features. Silver hair pulled back neatly. Eyes that missed nothing. "Ms. Sterling," the senator said, suddenly uneasy. "I didn't realize you were here tonight." "Clearly," she replied smoothly. Her gaze moved to Maya, still kneeling beside the table. "Accidents happen, Senator. I'm sure someone in your position can forgive a simple mistake." There was something in her tone. Polite, yes. But edged with quiet authority. Maya stood slowly, the small device hidden in her hand. She had done it. She had interrupted a deal that never should have happened. But now she stood between two of the most powerful people in the city. The senator muttered something under his breath. No harm done. Within minutes, he and his associate gathered their papers and left the restaurant. Maya began clearing the table. Her movements felt automatic. The device in her pocket felt heavy. Too heavy. Interesting method. Maya froze. Alexandra stood beside her, close enough that Maya caught a hint of subtle perfume. Something elegant. Unforgettable. "I'm sorry, ma'am," Maya said quickly. "About the spill." "It was very precise," Alexandra replied, her eyes steady on Maya's face. "Almost like you aimed." Maya swallowed. "I'm just clumsy, I guess." Alexandra lifted the wine bottle and studied the label. Chateau Margaux, 2010. That's not a careless choice. It makes quite a statement. The words lingered between them. Heavy with meaning. "I should finish cleaning," Maya said, reaching for the stained cloth. Alexandra's hand gently covered hers, stopping her. The touch was brief. but it sent a quiet rush up Maya's arm. "Leave it," Alexandra said softly. "Someone else can handle the mess." Maya looked up. For a moment, everything else faded. The quiet clatter of dishes. The low hum of conversation. Even her own heartbeat seemed distant. "I don't understand," she whispered. Alexandra's thumb brushed lightly against Maya's knuckles. "It could have been accidental. Or maybe not." "You will," she said. And just like that, she stepped away. Maya looked down. A sleek business card rested beneath her fingers. Alexandra Sterling. CEO, Sterling Industries. Call me. Maya's hands trembled as she slipped the card into her apron pocket, right beside the recording device that could change a senator's future. All her life, Maya Chen believed she understood the rules. Stay quiet. Stay invisible. Survive. But standing there, heart racing, she realized something important. Sometimes the safest way to survive is to stop being invisible. As Maya watched Alexandra walk away that night, something shifted inside her. The stain on the white tablecloth looked almost like a map. Wild lines spreading in every direction. Like a path into unknown territory. And somehow, she knew she had just stepped onto it. Exploring new ground can feel exciting. It can also be dangerous. Sometimes it is both at the same time. 3 days later, Alexandra Sterling sat behind her massive mahogany desk, quarterly reports spread neatly in front of her. Numbers. Charts. Projections. The kind of details she usually mastered without effort. But she could not focus. Her mind kept returning to one image. Maya Chen kneeling beside that table. Calm. Careful. Too careful for it to be random. The intelligence in her dark eyes. The exact angle of that so-called accident. "Ms. Sterling?" Her assistant's voice came through the intercom. "Your 3 o'clock is here." "Send them in," Alexandra replied automatically. She barely listened to the meeting that followed. Instead of studying merger documents, she found herself standing at the window of her corner office, 40 floors above Manhattan. The city stretched endlessly below her. She had built her company by reading people. By spotting patterns others ignored. By recognizing opportunity when it walked into a room. And Maya Chen felt like something she had not seen before. An opportunity wrapped in a mystery. Alexandra picked up her phone and dialed a number she knew by memory. Marcus. "Yeah, boss. I need a background check." A pause. "On who?" "Maya Chen. She works at Lernaden." "The restaurant?" Marcus asked carefully. "Alex, what's going on?" Marcus Rodriguez had been her head of security for 8 years. One of the few people who could call her Alex without hesitation. "Just run it," she said. Quietly. "Understood. Give me an hour." She ended the call and tried, again, to focus on work. But her thoughts drifted. The slight tremble in Maya's hand when their fingers touched. The flash of awareness when Alexandra mentioned the wine. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Thank you for stepping in the other night. M." Alexandra stared at the screen. That number was printed on very few cards. "Interesting." She typed back. "You're welcome. Though I suspect you had things under control." The reply came almost instantly. "Sometimes control is an illusion." Alexandra let out a quiet breath. A small smile touched her lips. She was not used to smiling in the middle of a workday. She began typing again, but a knock interrupted her. "Come in." Marcus stepped inside, tablet in hand. Tall. Calm. Thoughtful. He always looked more like a professor than someone who handled high-level security. "Well," he said, sitting down. "Your Myachin is impressive." "She's not mine," Alexandra replied quickly. Marcus gave her a look that said he did not believe that for a second. Myachin. 28. Graduated top of her class from Columbia. Degrees in journalism and political science. Worked for a major newspaper in D.C. for 3 years. Alexandra leaned forward. And? She was investigating political corruption. Then she quit. No public explanation. Disappeared for 6 months. After that, she shows up in New York working at a high-end restaurant. What kind of corruption? Marcus scrolled through his tablet. Illegal arms deals. Campaign finance issues. High-level connections. Alexandra's expression changed. Names. Her last major article focused on Senator Richardson. The same senator from the restaurant. The same table Maya had chosen. A quiet chill moved through Alexandra. "Marcus, I need you to." Her phone rang. The same unknown number. She held up a hand. "Give me a minute." She answered. Alexandra Sterling. "Ms. Sterling, it's Maya." Her voice sounded different. Tight. Uneasy. "I think I might be in trouble." Something in that tone made Alexandra stand immediately. "Where are you?" "Subway station. 42nd Street. 2 men have been following me since I left work." Alexandra was already reaching for her coat. "Stay on the line. Do not go anywhere isolated." Marcus was on his feet, speaking quietly into his earpiece, already giving instructions. "Maya, listen carefully," Alexandra said as she headed for the elevator. "Go somewhere crowded. A cafe. Stay visible. We're coming." "We?" Maya asked softly. "My security team. You'll be safe." There was a pause on the line. Then, almost hesitantly, Maya asked, "Why are you helping me?" The elevator doors closed. Alexandra caught her reflection in the polished steel. Calm face. Steady eyes. Why was she helping? She had built her entire life on strategy. On careful moves. On risks that made sense on paper. But this did not feel like business. It felt personal. "Because I think you're trying to do the right thing," Maya said at last, her voice steadier now. "And I don't like bullies, Ms. Sterling." There was a small pause. Then she added, softer, "There's something you should know about that night." "Tell me in person," Alexandra replied. "We're 5 minutes away." Traffic moved quickly as Marcus drove with calm focus. Through the phone, Alexandra could hear the echo of the subway station. Announcements in the background. Footsteps. The faint hum of a crowd. And Maya's breathing, just slightly uneven. "I see the Starbucks," Maya said. "There's a line." "Good. Stay there. Stay visible. Don't hang up." A brief silence. "Alexandra?" "Yes." The wine spill, it wasn't an accident. Alexandra closed her eyes for a second. She had known. Of course she had known. Still, hearing Maya say it out loud sent a quiet rush through her. Not fear. Not surprise. Something else. "I know," she said gently. "You know?" "I know a lot of things, Maya. Including the fact that you're probably the most interesting person I've met in years." A nervous little laugh came through the phone. "I'm just a waitress who spilled wine on a senator." "No," Alexandra said as the car pulled up near the entrance. "You're not." She stepped out and looked through the cafe window. There she was. Dark hair pulled back. Simple jeans. A Columbia sweatshirt. She looked young. Almost fragile. And yet Alexandra knew there was nothing fragile about her. "I can see you," Alexandra said quietly. Maya turned. Their eyes met through the glass. Even from that distance, the connection was there. The same spark. But then Alexandra noticed two men standing near a newsstand. Dark suits. Watching too closely. Something protective rose inside her. Sharp and immediate. Whatever Maya had stepped into, Alexandra was stepping into. And strangely, she felt no hesitation. Inside the cafe, Maya wrapped both hands around her cup like it was something solid to hold on to. Alexandra slid into the seat across from her. Under the bright lights, she looked even more striking. Composed. Focused. But her voice, when she spoke, was softer than before. "Are you hurt?" "No. Just shaken." Maya glanced toward the window, where Marcus stood nearby, his presence impossible to ignore. The two men had drifted further away. "Thank you for coming," Maya said. "Tell me about the device," Alexandra replied calmly. Maya blinked. "How did you?" "I saw you slip something into your hand. And I had a background check done." There was no accusation in her tone. Just honesty. Journalism degree. Political investigations. A certain senator, Alexandra continued. It wasn't difficult to connect the pieces. Maya slowly set her cup down. Her fingers trembled slightly. "You could report me," she said. "He has powerful allies." "So do I," Alexandra answered evenly. "What was on it?" The way she said Maya's name next felt different. Quieter. Almost personal. Maya took a breath. For years she had learned not to trust easily. Not to lean on anyone. But sitting across from Alexandra, those walls felt thinner. "It's evidence," she said. "Proof of a weapons deal." The meeting that night was meant to finalize it. Alexandra's expression hardened. "And you've been handling this alone?" "I had a source inside his office," Maya explained. "She gave me documents for months." Her voice cracked slightly. "Last week, she was found dead. They called it suicide." "But you don't believe that," Alexandra said quietly. Maya shook her head. She was engaged. Planning her wedding. She was happy. A tear slipped down before she could stop it. "She died because she trusted me." Without thinking, Alexandra reached across the table and covered Maya's hand with her own. The touch was steady. Warm. "That was not your fault," she said firmly. Maya looked up, eyes shining. "I pushed her to keep digging. I told her it mattered." "It does matter," Alexandra replied. "And now they're following me." "The men outside?" Maya nodded. "I saw one of them at her funeral. They know I have something." Alexandra was quiet for a moment, her thumb tracing a small, reassuring circle against Maya's skin. A simple gesture. But it carried weight. "Why not go straight to federal authorities?" she asked gently. "Because I don't know who's connected to who," Maya said. "If this goes deeper than one office, I could disappear before anyone listens." Her voice dropped to almost a whisper. "I don't know who to trust. Law enforcement, intelligence, even parts of the media," Maya whispered. "I tried to publish the story. My editor shut it down. Said the proof wasn't strong enough." She shook her head. "But I know what happened. Richardson got to him. Just like he gets to everyone." Alexandra's phone buzzed. She glanced at the screen, then back at Maya. Marcus says the men have stepped away. For now, she said. For now? Maya repeated. They'll try again. Alexandra's voice hardened slightly. Not if I can stop it. She leaned forward. Come with me. Where? Somewhere secure. My place has protection that doesn't miss much. Maya stared at her. You're offering to help someone you barely know. Someone being followed because of a powerful man. You're not barely someone, Alexandra replied softly. And I respect courage. There was a quiet warmth in her expression now. Something almost playful. Maya felt her cheeks heat. Was this really happening? The most influential woman in the city, showing personal interest in her? I can't ask you to take that risk, Maya said. You're not asking, Alexandra replied as she stood and offered her hand. I am. Why? Maya asked, searching her face. Why are you doing this? Alexandra's smile turned thoughtful. Maybe I'll explain over dinner. A real dinner. No dramatic wine involved. Despite everything, Maya laughed. Is that an invitation? It is, Alexandra said. And please, call me Alexandra. Maya hesitated only a second before placing her hand in Alexandra's. The contact sent a quiet rush through her. Unexpected. Electric. This feels unreal, Maya admitted. Most meaningful things do, Alexandra replied. They walked toward the exit together. In the reflection of the cafe window, the contrast was clear. Alexandra in her tailored coat. Maya in worn jeans and a college sweatshirt. Different worlds. Different paths. Yet when Alexandra's fingers gently intertwined with hers, it didn't feel strange. It felt natural. Marcus joined them outside. Cars around the corner, he said calmly. Thank you, Alexandra replied, squeezing Maya's hand. Ready? Maya glanced back at the subway entrance. At the uncertainty she had been carrying alone for months. Then she looked at Alexandra. Strong. Composed. And unexpectedly kind. Ready, she said. As they walked toward the waiting car, something unfamiliar rose in her chest. Hope. Maybe she didn't have to fight this battle alone. Maybe trust was not as impossible as she thought. But just before they reached the car, Maya noticed a figure across the street. A familiar face. Watching. Still. The message was clear. This was not over. If anything, it was just beginning. Alexandra's penthouse overlooked Central Park, wrapped in quiet elegance. Floor-to-ceiling windows. Clean lines. Art that looked both simple and impossibly expensive. The space felt calm. Controlled. Almost sacred. Maya stood near the center of the living room, suddenly aware of her jeans and sweatshirt. She felt out of place. Like she had wandered into a gallery after hours. You're thinking very loudly, Alexandra said as she returned with 2 glasses of wine. I don't belong here, Maya admitted, accepting the glass. Their fingers brushed again. Even that small touch felt charged. According to who? Alexandra asked lightly. According to reality, Maya replied. Your world is different. Alexandra let out a soft laugh. You think this defines me? She gestured around the room. It's just space and furniture. It's more than that, Maya said quietly. Alexandra's expression shifted. More serious now. My parents arrived here with nothing, she said. My father cleaned office buildings at night. My mother worked in a factory during the day. I know what it feels like to be overlooked. Maya studied her face, noticing the vulnerability beneath the confidence. How did you get here? She asked gently. Scholarships. Loans. Long nights. And a strong desire to prove that limits are often illusions, Alexandra said, walking toward the window. She stood there for a moment, city lights reflecting in the glass. I built this, she added quietly. Not because I wanted wealth, but because I never wanted someone else deciding my worth again. Maya felt something shift inside her. Maybe their worlds were not so far apart after all. I built Sterling Industries from nothing, Alexandra said quietly, standing by the window. I refuse to let my past decide my future. She turned toward Maya, her gray eyes steady. And you are not invisible to me. The words settled between them, heavy and real. Maya set her wineglass down carefully. Her hands were shaking. Alexandra, can I ask you something? Anything. Maya hesitated only a second. Are you gay? It came out more directly than she meant it to. But she needed clarity. The looks. The touches. The energy between them. She could not pretend it was all in her head. Alexandra's expression softened. There was no surprise there. Only something like relief. Yes, she said simply. Are you? Maya nodded. Yes. She let out a nervous breath. I just needed to know if I was reading this right. Reading what? Alexandra asked gently. Maya gave a small, helpless gesture. The way you look at me. The way you showed up without hesitation. The way you're standing there while I'm completely overwhelmed. Alexandra stepped closer. Slowly. Deliberately. She stopped just inches away. Close enough that Maya could see tiny flecks of blue hidden in her gray eyes. You think I'm overwhelming? Alexandra asked softly. Maya swallowed. I think you're incredible. For a moment, neither of them moved. Then Alexandra reached up and brushed her fingers lightly along Maya's cheek. The touch was careful. Gentle. Maya, she said quietly, I haven't felt this kind of connection in a very long time. The space between them disappeared. The kiss was soft at first. Uncertain. A question more than a statement. Maya answered it without words. When they finally pulled back, both were breathing a little faster. This is complicated, Maya whispered. Most important things are, Alexandra replied. Her phone began buzzing on the table. She ignored it at first. You should check that, Maya said. It can wait. But it kept vibrating insistently. Alexandra sighed and picked it up. Marcus? Maya watched as Alexandra's expression shifted. Calm. Then focused. Then suddenly sharp. What do you mean they're gone? Alexandra said. How does an entire family just disappear? Maya felt the room tilt. What happened? Alexandra held up a hand, listening carefully. Check hospitals. Airports. Every contact. She ended the call slowly. Alexandra? Your source, she said carefully. Sarah. Marcus looked into her death. Maya's chest tightened. And? Her family is missing. Parents. Sister. Her fiancé. No trace. Maya sat down hard on the couch. They're covering everything up. We don't know that yet, Alexandra said, though her voice was controlled with effort. Yes, we do. Tears filled Maya's eyes. This is how he works. Anyone connected becomes a problem. She looked up, fear written across her face. And now you're connected too. Alexandra crossed the room and sat beside her. She gently pulled Maya into her arms. Look at me, she said firmly. Maya lifted her gaze. I've faced threats before, Alexandra continued. Hostile takeovers. Public attacks. People who wanted me gone. This is different, Maya whispered. Then help me understand it, Alexandra replied. Show me what you have. Maya hesitated. Once she shared the evidence, there would be no safe distance left. Maya, Alexandra said softly. Trust me. After a long pause, Maya reached into her bag and pulled out a small digital recorder. It's all here, she said. The deal. The payments. Even conversations about silencing witnesses. Alexandra took the device carefully. Her jaw tightened as she held it. We need to get this to someone who can act, she said. Maya shook her head. Who? He has connections everywhere. The city lights shimmered beyond the windows. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The game had changed. And now, there was no turning back. Not everywhere, Alexandra said quietly. She stood and walked toward the window again, thinking fast. I have contacts at the Justice Department. People who owe me. And if they're compromised too? Maya asked. Alexandra turned back. There was something fierce in her eyes now. The look of someone who had built everything by refusing to step aside. Then we go public, she said. Every major outlet. Every platform. We make it impossible to ignore. That's not a strategy, Maya whispered. That's a declaration of war. Good. Alexandra's smile was sharp. I've never been afraid of a fight. Maya stared at her. This powerful woman, ready to risk her reputation, her company, everything, for the truth. For her. If we do this, Maya said carefully, there's no going back. He'll come after both of us. Let him try. Alexandra returned to the couch and took Maya's hands in hers. Her grip was steady. Warm. I meant what I said, she added softly. I haven't felt this connected to someone in years. I'm not letting a corrupt man take that away. Maya's heart beat faster. What exactly are we protecting? Alexandra's expression softened. For a moment, the steel faded. I don't know yet, she admitted. But I'd like the chance to find out. Maya leaned forward until their foreheads touched. This is reckless. The best stories usually are, Alexandra murmured. The word lingered between them. Love. Too soon, Maya told herself. Too fast. Instead of speaking, she kissed her. Not hesitant this time. Everything she felt poured into it. Fear. Hope. Gratitude. Something new and bright and terrifying. When they pulled back, Alexandra's eyes were steady with purpose. So, she said softly, are you ready? Maya thought of Sarah. Of the unanswered questions. Of the people who deserved the truth. Then she looked at Alexandra. Strong. Determined. Beside her. Yes, she said. Let's do it. The next morning, Maya woke to the smell of coffee and the quiet sound of Alexandra's voice on a call. Sunlight filled the penthouse. For a few peaceful seconds, she forgot about everything else. She had slept in the guest room, though they had talked until almost 3 a.m, mapping out possibilities. Every time Alexandra's eyes met hers, that pull had grown stronger. Good morning, Alexandra said as Maya stepped into the kitchen. She was already dressed for the day. Dark suit. Hair flawless. Composed, as always. Do you ever not look put together? Maya asked, accepting a mug of coffee. Alexandra smiled. You should see me after a 14-hour board meeting. Then her gaze softened. though you look pretty great yourself. Maya glanced down at the silk pajamas she had borrowed. I feel like I'm pretending. You're not pretending, Alexandra said simply. You look beautiful. The sincerity in her voice made Maya look away, suddenly shy. I spoke with my contact, Alexandra continued, leaning against the counter. We have a meeting this afternoon. And if it's a trap? Then we adjust, Alexandra replied calmly. Her expression shifted slightly. But I need you to be honest with me. Maya felt tension tighten in her chest. Okay. Is there anything else? Anything you haven't shared yet? Maya set her mug down. Her hands were shaking again. She had hoped to delay this part. There's more, she admitted. Alexandra waited, patient but alert. The weapons deals are only part of it, Maya said quietly. He's been leaking classified information. Using his committee access to sell secrets. Alexandra went still. How long? Years. At least 5. Proof. Financial trails. Payments from multiple countries. Routed through shell companies. Maya's voice trembled. Sarah found most of it. Alexandra exhaled slowly. This isn't just corruption. I know, Maya whispered. Silence filled the kitchen. And there's something else, Maya added, barely audible. Alexandra stepped closer, resting a steady hand on her shoulder. Tell me. Promise me, Alexandra said, her voice low but firm, that no matter what happens, no matter how dangerous this gets, you won't shut me out. We face this together. Maya thought of all the times she'd faced threats alone. All the walls she'd built around herself to avoid trusting anyone. I promise, she said, her voice steady. Alexandra leaned closer. But you have to promise me something too. What? That when this is over, when we've exposed them, when justice is done for Sarah and everyone else, they won't just be headlines. We get a chance too. A real chance. Quiet moments. The ordinary kind of love. Alexandra's smile lit up her face. I promise. They kissed then, soft, tender, and filled with hope. A fragile hope, because they both knew the real battle was only beginning. The Justice Department building rose ahead, cold and imposing, its stone facade dark beneath the overcast sky. Maya's palms were damp as she and Alexandra climbed the steps, Marcus flanking them like a shadow. Remember, Alexandra whispered, we tell them everything. No holding back. Maya nodded, gripping the briefcase containing copies of all their evidence. The original recording device remained hidden safely in Alexandra's penthouse vault, but backups ensured nothing was lost. Inside, a conference room awaited. 3 figures stood, Deputy Attorney General Patricia Wells, FBI Director James Morrison, and a tall, sharp-eyed blonde Maya didn't recognize. Her intelligence reminded Maya faintly of Alexandra. Ms. Sterling, Ms. Chin, welcome, Wells said, stepping forward. Thank you for coming. This is Agent Sarah Blackwood, our lead investigator on political corruption cases. Maya froze. Sarah Blackwood. Her blood ran cold. The blonde woman's smile didn't reach her eyes. I understand you have concerns about Senator Richardson's death, she said smoothly. You're Sarah, Maya whispered, realization dawning. You're Sarah's sister. Blackwood's expression didn't change. But Maya saw it, the subtle tightening around her eyes, her hand brushing toward her jacket. She was armed. Maya, Alexandra murmured, sensing the tension. What's wrong? She's Sarah's sister, Maya said, stepping back. Sarah Whitman, her maiden name. She had changed it when she married. Finally, Blackwood's mask cracked. Very good, Miss Chin. Sarah always said you were too smart for your own good. Chaos erupted instantly. Director Morrison reached for his weapon, but Blackwood was faster. Her gun was already trained on Maya. "Nobody move," Blackwood said, voice calm but lethal. "Miss Chen, place the briefcase on the table. Step back." "You killed your own sister," Maya accused, voice trembling with anger and disbelief. "I protected national security," Blackwood replied. "Sarah was about to expose operations that have kept this country safe for decades. Selling weapons, betraying classified information. I did what was necessary in an imperfect world." Alexandra stepped in front of Maya, calm but deadly. "Agent Blackwood, you're outnumbered. Put down the weapon." "Actually, I'm not," Blackwood said, smirking. Director Morrison and Deputy Wells exchanged uneasy glances, and Maya's heart sank as the truth hit her. They were all part of it. The entire meeting was a setup. "The briefcase, Miss Chen," Blackwood said, her tone flat. Maya glanced at Alexandra, who returned her gaze with desperation mirrored in gray eyes. They had walked straight into a trap. "Maya," Alexandra said softly, "do what she says, but keep your mind on the evidence." "Do it." Maya placed the briefcase on the table, her hands trembling. Blackwood signaled Wells to take it. "Thank you," she said. "Now, I'm afraid you've seen too much." Alexandra's voice rang out, steady and commanding. "Before you do anything you'll regret, know that we didn't come here unprepared." Blackwood's eyes narrowed. "What do you mean, Marcus?" Alexandra asked, calm as ever. Suddenly, every screen in the room, the computers, tablets, and even the mounted television, blinked to life. A live video feed of the conference room appeared, broadcasting to the internet. "Tell me," Alexandra said gently. Maya swallowed. "The night Sarah died, she called me. She was terrified. She said she had found something bigger than Richardson." She looked up, holding Alexandra's gaze. "She said there was a list. Names. Other politicians. Military officials. Even judges. People connected to the same network." Alexandra's expression sharpened. "Where is it?" "I don't know. She told me she hid it somewhere safe. She said she would explain everything the next day." Maya's voice grew quiet. "She never got the chance." Silence settled between them. "If that list exists," Alexandra said slowly, "then we're not dealing with one corrupt official. We're facing something much larger." Before Maya could respond, Alexandra's phone rang. She frowned at the screen. "Marcus. He's been keeping an eye on Richardson." She answered quickly. "What happened?" Maya watched the color drain from her face. "When?" Alexandra asked sharply. "Are you certain?" She ended the call and stood very still. "What is it?" Maya whispered. "Richardson is dead." The words felt unreal. "What?" "They found him in his office this morning. The police are calling it suicide." Maya shook her head immediately. "No. That doesn't make sense. He would never do that. He believed he was untouchable." "Single gunshot," Alexandra said quietly. "Weapon in his hand. No visible struggle." Maya began pacing, her thoughts racing. "This is wrong. Someone silenced him." "Who?" "The same people he was working with," Maya replied. "We were getting close. If he felt pressure, they would remove the risk." Alexandra exhaled slowly. "If that's true, then we're dealing with people willing to eliminate anyone who becomes a liability." "And we have evidence," Maya added. They stood facing each other, the weight of it pressing down on them. "We could walk away," Alexandra said after a moment. Her voice was quieter now. "I have the means. We could leave. Start over somewhere safe." The idea lingered in the air. Maya imagined it for a second. A quiet life. No fear. Just the two of them. It was tempting. But then she thought about Sarah. About the unanswered questions. About families who might never know the truth. I can't, Maya said softly. I can't disappear while they keep doing this. Alexandra searched her face. Even if it puts us in danger? Yes. A slow nod. I was hoping you'd say that. You were? Because I can't walk away either. Alexandra stepped closer. Not from this. And not from you. Maya's breath caught. This is happening so fast, she said quietly. I know, Alexandra replied. But sometimes clarity doesn't take time. It just arrives. What if we don't make it through this? Maya asked. Alexandra's smile was steady, though her eyes were serious. Then we face it together. Maya leaned into her touch. I'm scared. So am I, Alexandra admitted. I've spent my whole life protecting myself. Building walls. And then you walked in and made me want to lower them. There was something unguarded in her expression now. Honest. I haven't felt this connected to anyone in years, she continued. The idea of losing you before we even understand what this is, that frightens me. Maya placed her hands over Alexandra's. Then we fight smart. And we stay alive. A small, determined smile formed between them. Promise me something, Alexandra said softly. Anything. Smile, Alexandra said, her tone calm, confident. You're live. Every major social media platform, every news website, and thousands of personal devices are watching right now. The world just saw you confess to your crimes. Blackwood froze, her face going pale. Turn it off, she hissed. Can't, Marcus's voice came through Alexandra's earpiece, loud enough for everyone to hear. It's already been downloaded and shared thousands of times. Stopping it now won't matter. Morrison lunged at his computer, frantic. I can't stop it. The signal, it's coming from outside the building. Alexandra's gaze stayed fixed on him. In fact, she said, calm as ever, they've been watching for the past 10 minutes. Which means they saw everything, your lies, your threats, the murders you covered up. Maya felt a rush of awe. You planned this? I always have an exit strategy, Alexandra said, never taking her eyes off Blackwood. Blackwood's hands wavered on her gun. Her composure was cracking. You have no idea what you've done, she spat. The only lives at risk are the ones you've destroyed to hide your crimes, Maya said, her voice steady now. The conference room door slammed open, and real FBI agents poured in, agents who weren't part of the conspiracy. At their head was a woman Maya recognized instantly from news reports. Agent Blackwood, Director Morrison, Deputy Wells, the lead agent called. You're under arrest for conspiracy, murder, and treason. As the corrupt officials were led away in handcuffs, Maya felt adrenaline and relief flood through her. Alexandra wrapped her arms around her. It's over, she whispered. Finally over. Maya pulled back slightly, eyes searching Alexandra's. Is it really? How many more are out there? How deep does this go? I don't know, Alexandra admitted. But we've started something. The evidence is in the right hands now, journalists, investigators, people who actually care about the truth. Maya nodded slowly, feeling the weight of the last few weeks finally lift. Sarah would have been proud. She'd made a difference. They walked out of the Justice Department together, the afternoon sunlight warm and bright on their faces. So, Alexandra said, taking Maya's hand, what now? Maya smiled, thinking of all the months spent chasing justice, living in fear. I want to go back to journalism. Real reporting, investigative work that matters. Alexandra returned the smile. I know some people running newspapers. Honest people who still care about truth and integrity. And us? Maya asked, softly. Alexandra stopped and turned to her. That depends. Are you ready for the kind of love we talked about? The ordinary, everyday kind? Maya looked at her, brilliant, fearless, beautiful Alexandra, the woman who had seen her at her lowest and stood by her anyway. I'm ready, she said. Are you? Alexandra's answer was a kiss, soft, sweet, full of promise. When they pulled apart, they were both smiling. Come on, Alexandra said, taking her hand. Let's go home. As they walked to the waiting car, Maya felt something she hadn't in years, peace. The fight for justice wasn't over, but she wouldn't face it alone. She had found her partner. A year later, Maya adjusted her press badge and double-checked her recorder before entering the courthouse. The trial of the decade was beginning, a conspiracy that had reached the highest levels of government was finally being exposed. Her investigative series had won a Pulitzer, toppled a network of corruption, and led to the arrest of 12 senators, 15 House representatives, and dozens of federal officials. The impact was still rippling across Washington. Ready for this? Alexandra asked, appearing beside her in the courthouse lobby. Maya smiled, feeling that familiar flutter. Alexandra looked stunning, her silver hair catching the morning light, navy suit flawless. As ready as I'll ever be, Maya said. Are you sure you want to be here? Some of these people were your business associates. Former associates, Alexandra corrected, with a small, confident smile. And yes, I want to be here. Maya adjusted her press badge as she found a seat in the packed courtroom. Alexandra slid in beside her, their fingers brushing and naturally intertwining. It was a small gesture, but it grounded her in a way that never failed to amaze her. She pulled out her notebook, letting herself fall into the familiar rhythm of observation and documentation. It felt good to be back in this zone, where purpose and focus replaced fear. The past year had been a whirlwind. After the Justice Department arrests, offers from every major newspaper in the country had come her way. She had returned to the Washington Post, but this time with a mission to follow corruption wherever it hid. Alexandra, meanwhile, had rebuilt Sterling Industries from the inside out. She'd implemented strict ethical guidelines and cut ties with anyone connected to the conspiracy. It had cost her millions, but she had never looked back. All rise, the bailiff announced. The judge entered, and Maya felt Alexandra's hand squeeze hers gently. It was a grounding reminder that she wasn't alone. Witness after witness testified, recounting the scope of the conspiracy, the lives lost, the security compromised. Maya's pen never stopped moving, but part of her attention kept drifting to the defendant's table, where Agent Blackwood sat in her orange jumpsuit, expression unreadable. When lunch came, they walked to a small cafe nearby. Nothing fancy, just checkered tablecloths and the smell of fresh bread. Your thoughts? Alexandra asked, stirring her coffee. I keep thinking about Sarah, Maya admitted. About how she would feel, seeing justice served at last. She'd be proud, Alexandra said softly. And so am I. You've accomplished so much. Maya looked across the table at her, still sometimes in awe that this brilliant, powerful woman had chosen to build a life with her. 6 months ago, they'd moved into a brownstone in Georgetown, and for the first time, Maya had felt at home somewhere. I have something to tell you, Alexandra said, her voice suddenly a little nervous. Maya raised an eyebrow. Oh. Alexandra reached into her purse and pulled out a small velvet box. Maya's heart stopped. Before you say anything, let me explain, Alexandra said, hands trembling just slightly. I know it's only been a year, and we're still figuring things out. But I also know this, I want to spend the rest of my life figuring it out with you. She opened the box. Inside rested a simple, elegant diamond ring. Maya Chen, will you marry me? Maya stared at the ring, then at Alexandra's face, hopeful, vulnerable, stunning. Around them, the cafe carried on as usual, but to Maya, it felt as though time had stopped. "You want to marry a journalist who spills wine on senators?" she asked, her voice thick with emotion. "I want to marry the woman who had the courage to fight for justice when no one else would. The woman who makes me laugh, who challenges me, who inspires me to be better than I am," Alexandra replied, her smile soft and sincere. "The woman I love more than I ever thought possible," she added. Maya reached across the table, cupping Alexandra's face with both hands. "Yes," she whispered. "Yes, of course, yes." Their kiss was soft, warm, filled with coffee, promises, and the future they were about to build together. As Alexandra slid the ring onto her finger, Maya thought of the night they met, the calculated spill of wine that had led to everything: justice, love, and a life she hadn't dared to imagine. "I love you," Maya said, watching the diamond catch the light. "I love you too," Alexandra replied, ready to head back and witness the final verdicts. "With you? I'm ready for anything." They walked back to the courthouse hand in hand, past reporters, protesters, and curious onlookers. Maya felt the weight of her engagement ring, the solid presence of Alexandra beside her, and the satisfaction of knowing their work mattered. That evening, the verdicts came in, guilty on every count for every defendant. Maya filed her story from the courthouse steps while Alexandra fielded calls from friends and colleagues congratulating them both on the engagement. "So," Alexandra said, smiling as Maya finished typing, "what's next for the famous investigative journalist and her soon-to-be wife?" Maya grinned. "I heard there's a story about pharmaceutical companies overcharging for cancer drugs. Interested in helping me take down a few more bad guys?" "Always," Alexandra said, pulling her close. "But first, let's go home and plan a wedding." As they walked toward the car, Maya caught their reflection in a storefront window, two women in love, partners in every sense of the word, ready to face whatever came next. 6 months later, they were married in a small ceremony at Alexandra's penthouse, surrounded by friends, colleagues, and the family they had chosen for themselves. Marcus had walked Maya down the aisle, and the judge officiating was one of the honest investigators who had helped clean up the corruption Maya had exposed. As they exchanged vows, Maya thought of all the tables she'd served, all the powerful people she'd watched from the shadows. But this table, their table, set for two in a home filled with love and laughter, was the only one that mattered. "I love you, Mrs. Sterlington," Alexandra whispered as they swayed in their first dance. "I love you too, Mrs. Sterlington," Maya replied. And she knew, no matter what stories the future held, they would face them together. The spilled wine had long ago been cleaned, but the love it revealed would stain their hearts forever, beautifully, permanently, perfectly.